Doc, you are not aware of what I'm about to ask Harper, but Harper turned on AEW for the first time. By the time this airs, it'll be about 2 weeks ago. And Harper's initial reaction was what, Harper?
It was fucking garbage. The only good thing was I turned it on. I heard Tony Schiavone's voice. I'm like, man, I felt like I was watching Nitro again. It's like, man, this is fucking great. Then the Young Bucks came out, and I was like, okay, let me see what all the fuss is about with these two. And then
and then it was over, and you were still wondering what all the fuss was about,
dude. And then the fucking Party Time guys came out, the fucking Private Party dudes, and I'm like, man, this is not for me. This is so not for me.
What about Jericho at the end cutting a promo?
I didn't even keep on that long. Fuck that.
Okay.
I already got my little taste, bro. Fuck you. And I just didn't. Fuck. I don't want to just sound like everyone else, like some crusty old fucking asshole, like the fucking off my lawn from fucking Mr. Wilson from fucking Dennis the Menace. But it just no, bro. No.
So let me see how old you really are. What'd you think of NWA Power?
That was badass.
There you go. Now you really are old, and it was badass.
It was badass.
You know what I liked about NWA, the first NWA Power, and now it's several weeks old, but I loved it at the end when they started talking to Nick Aldis and his broad sitting there, and boy, she is something, by the way. And they keep trying to ask her questions, and he won't let her talk. Now that's some 2019 heel work right there.
Yeah, that reminded me of Macho and Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah, back when you could do that kind of thing, but this is 2019.
Yeah. Right.
He was like, nah, you don't need to talk to her. That's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to rile Harper up anymore, but like Harper doesn't call me all the time. He'll text me, so I know when he calls me, it's something important.
Bruh.
Go ahead.
I'm watching a stunt show done by people that aren't stuntmen.
That's right.
And that's what I'm watching.
Bad acting by people.
Very bad acting. And it's like, I think I told y'all this once before. I was watching Captain America Winter Soldier. It was on TNT at fucking USA. And I'm sitting there watching it. And it's Captain America versus the Winter Soldier. And they're going back and forth and punching. And Captain America gets thrown into a car and he jumps right back up again and starts fighting again because he's Captain America. He's a fucking superhero. And that's where I'm sitting here watching. I'm like, this must be where they get their shit from. Must be what the fuck they copy. Because they fucking hit each other. He goes down. He's back up again like nothing happened. It's like, this must be where they get their fucking wrestling from. And I was telling Mike this shit. It's like, you take 9 out of the 10 wrestlers that we grew up watching from the 80s to fucking 90s or whatever. I was telling them, picture if you walked into a Circle K and you saw Ron Simmons was the cashier. Take away the wrestling, he was Florida State football player. Big old Ron Simmons is there selling lotto tickets and fucking cigarettes. You ain't gonna fuck with him. Because he's this big badass motherfucker. Even if he's not a wrestler, you still don't want to fuck with him. These motherfuckers, I would so fuck with. These are the motherfuckers. If I saw walking down the stairs, I would just push them down the stairs just to be an asshole. Because, I mean, what are you going to do? Kick my ass? No. That's just, and I just missed that. I missed that. That's what I was telling Mike. If you saw Hercules Hernandez was your mailman, you still wouldn't fuck with him.
Or if Arn Anderson was my mailman.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's just, and these motherfuckers don't.
Well, here's the thing. I've got a theory about this, and we need to get started on this in our show in a minute because we ain't here all night. But here's the problem with all of it. I've been thinking about this for a while, but Harper, you just gave me the opening here to get my shit in, as Mike likes to say. when rock and roll started, it was based off of what? Rhythm and blues music. And so the bands like Led Zeppelin, that even though they were kind of rock and roll and metal, had some heavy metal in them, they were still based on the blues. So in the 80s and 90s, you still had guys that even though it's pro wrestling, it was still based on the core fundamentals of trying to beat somebody's ass. You get further and further away from it with either hip hop or other forms of music. It ain't rock and roll anymore. These guys aren't doing wrestling anymore. You said it earlier. They're doing gymnastics routines.
Yep. It's a stunt show.
And it ain't what it was, because it ain't trying to be what it was. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna like it either. And it ain't ever gonna just morph back into it unless it's intentional. I thought the NWA show wasn't the same as the old days, but it was at least they were trying. They were playing the blues. Those guys still have to learn how to do it. How does Tim Storm stay that in shape at 50?
Bro, and that's another thing. Tim Storm is 53 years old. I wouldn't fuck with fucking Tim Storm, but I would definitely fuck with all the young bucks and the fucking party time fucking dudes.
There you go.
I'll fuck with all four of them at the same time.
Damn.
But fucking Tim Storm he's fucking 10 years older than me, and I wouldn't fuck with Tim Storm.
So part of the reason that rock and roll got away from the blues-based deal was everybody started doing it. Corny said this on a show last week, I think. Or Jericho said it on one of his podcasts recently. It used to be that you had to be really good at your instrument to play, and then you get into things, and like Nirvana was all right, and those bands were good, but it opened the door for everybody that came after them. And then everybody was in a band. Hell, I was in bands. Everybody I knew was in bands. Everybody's trying to play wrestler, but there's no more rock stars because everybody's doing it. There's no more stars in wrestling because everybody's doing it. There needs to be some sort of
filter?
Yeah, a filter to this thing that says, I'm going to walk on. When I walk in the room, people know that I'm different than you.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't exist, then nobody's going to buy a ticket. Now, guess who likes it that way? Vince, because that way he's the star, and his promotion is the star, and the stars aren't the stars, and that's what started another part of the big problem.
Two things. I've accepted this. I told Harper this. I'm actually pulling for AEW because I want there to be some freaking alternative.
I want to see him do well.
You just want Triple H to be at the helm when it all goes down. We know.
I really don't care. But my point is, I want some alternative to be in place that at least has something so that I do not have to, when I want to flip it to freaking current wrestling, I don't have to watch this homogenized bullshit called the WWE where it's cookie cutter, the promos are scripted. To Harper's point, he's right about that opening match in AEW with the flips and dives and all that and everything he said about the Bucks. I ain't got nothing against the Bucks. I ain't trying to hate on them. I respect their hustle. But if I'm in a fight in a dark alley and it's me and Harper against those two, I'm going to look at Harper and go, is this a joke? I mean, do we really need to try not hurt him as we fight our way out of this? Or do we hurt him? It's not even a question. Whereas what Harper says, if I saw Ron Simmons at my age I am right now, in his prime, and Harper, it was Ron Simmons and JBL, I'd look at Harper and be like, fuck, man. We're gonna go down dying, but this ain't gonna be pretty. There's a difference. I mean, that's just part of it. But I want to see him succeed because Jericho did cut a good promo, and it was real, and it was authentic, and it wasn't stuff you see on that cookie cutter show. Now, NWA, man, Harper's point about, when you see these guys back in the day, and you were like, damn, I would not mess with them. To this day, Eli Drake, I'm gonna think twice before I go start throwing some hands with him. I don't know if he can fight for real, but I'm gonna think twice. James Storm, I don't know, man. He looks real enough to me. Nick Aldis, he looks real enough to me. Tim Storm, he looks real enough to me. That's 4 guys right there in that promotion. Now, I know they got some other guys maybe that don't fit that bill. My point is, though, when you tune into that, that's the closest thing to what we grew up watching. And it's not just because it's in the studio. It's because, damn, they actually got some believable people on there. Now, everybody ain't believable. Don't get me wrong, but you still kind of you turn your head and you're like, huh, all right. Am I preaching, Harper, or am I off base?
No, I mean, even Trevor Murdoch's old fucking ass. Fucking, I won't fucking want to piss him off.
That's what I'm saying. So, yeah. But anyway, Harper, any other thoughts on the Young Bucks and Private Party match that eternally pissed you off, and you called me and said, "I can't do this, bro."
I can't do it. I don't know, bro. If that's your thing, rock it out. It's not aimed towards me. Whatever. I'm not in that demographic. It's so not catered to me.
And I'm with him. With that said, how about we get into some Saturday night, Doc?
Oh, it would be a blessing.
All right, let's do it then. So, again, this is June the 25th, 1988, Saturday night on TBS.